Wow. I remember I remember the last 20, 30 years of my life. Oh my God. Starvation. I came from Vietnam starving. I was protein loaded, but still wasn't completely given all the food that I definitely needed, but I gave enough food to keep going. Programmed in a specific way. I'm fine with that. Whatever. I survived it all. But starvation is the number one reason why people die. Like I said before, I mean, you could have all the different factors that lead up to starvation, but starvation is the number one reason why people die, and starvation is the number one reason why certain cultures and certain races of beings, why they were eradicated, like disappeared. That's why you don't know anything about the giants, like the players in the Bible, the Nephilim, whatever. Because they were starved out, they were destroyed, they were eradicated for a reason. Why were they? Because they were intolerant. Okay? Why does any culture disappear? Because they were intolerant. Why were they intolerant? For so many reasons. They were violent. They couldn't handle the food supply. They didn't understand how to adapt to the environment. They were destructive. And so those who were alive, who figured out how intolerant people are, and intolerant how races and things are, and that can't handle being around other life forms without destroying them, like eradicating them, then they had to go. And they have to go. Okay? And so, that the last video that I did, I figured out the missing link, and it was the giants. They are the missing link. The giants that you don't even know about except through the stories. Okay? And so then Alana Brown, I have to give her a little bit of credit because she's given me some updates on what she's feeling, and she's a skinny girl, and I know her culture background and everything, and I don't allow that to get in the way of me liking people, because I understand, because what they're practicing and what they believe in, and I get it, and I still don't let that stop me from wanting the best for them. And everyone out there, all over my Facebook, we're all examples. We're all going to be used as examples for whatever. And so she gave us some insight. She gave you guys a very valuable piece of insight, because she mentioned World War II. She mentioned the cancer in those camps. And yeah, when you have so many aggressive elements, let's say so much fluoride. I'm not saying that they're putting poisonous amounts in the water supply. No, they're not. It's parts per million, and it's acceptable by the EPA. But back then in World War II, during those camps, they didn't have any EPA or FDA type of stuff. They just did stuff. They starved people out in those camps back in World War II, and they gave them aggressive elements to cause then rapid replication of offspring that then cause a deterioration. It caused the people to be very skinny, and look like they're starving. Okay? Now, when you look at, which I've always said, but I didn't want to say it, when you look at concentration camp victims, and then you look at the holistic world, then you look at our society, even the 1960s, the desire to be so skinny, within all the plastic surgery, the big boobs, the skinny waist, the big butt, whatever, the desire to be so skinny. And then the opposite of that is so obese because you can't seem to get your hormones in check and the release process in check. That's people that were only vegans and vegetarians and living on only herbs and extracts and detoxes and all that. They started looking like concentration camp victims. I mean, I've circulated in the holistic world for so many years, and they're doing breatharian type of exercises, air sandwiches, just only eating the vegan stuff, working out, lifting weights, so they look like they have body to them. Yes, the chiseled bodies that you saw in the Greco-Roman reliefs and the statues over there at the Vatican, and even when you go to Italy and on all the different, or in Greece, and you see the Acropolis, and you see all the statues, they're all naked people, and they have chiseled butts, well, chiseled stomachs and all that. And there's really not much fat to them, really, when you think about it. But if there's so much fat, then you go back to way back in time, like the Sumerian pantheon. You look at those statues, and they had the earthly mother, right? She had the big boobs and the big butt and the big and the big thighs, and she looked like a little meatball. Sometimes I refer to myself as a meatball because sometimes I feel like I'm as big as a house because of how aggressive the environment is, like it was this weekend, plus then going and hanging out, going to a celebration of life event at a VFW, and I'm mixing in with people. I'm not drinking. I'm not doing any drugs. I'm not drinking. I'm completely just drinking my Pepsi, and that's it. But I am around people who are releasing their spirits, who are releasing their demons, and I'm breathing them in. Okay? I'm in a diverse atmosphere that is not usual to my atmosphere, my environment. And my body, along with whatever else is going on in the environment, is then being compounded with that diverse atmosphere, plus all those spirits that have to metastasize and fornicate and all that. And then I have to feel like I'm pregnant. I felt so bloated this last weekend. Like I would sit with my husband, eat a little bit of my dinner. I couldn't eat so much of my dinner. And I would have my belly just feel like I'm just sitting on top of a freaking little table. And I'm just like, God, And it's like, it messes, when you're bloated, it messes with just all the different stuff. You feel hungry, you feel tired. I was tired on Saturday. I had to sleep all day on Saturday. And then Sunday I was doing whatever I was doing. And then Monday, whatever. And then yesterday I just felt like I had a headache. I was coughing and sleepy, obviously. I couldn't even really watch any movies like I wanted to watch. Like I can watch another streaming service that I have that finally came back online again because we didn't have it for a minute, and then it came back online because we decided to take the Fire Stick from the TV downstairs, which hasn't been fixed yet, and we brought it upstairs, and so now I have access to another streaming service again. But I don't even really want to watch even any. I was just sleeping yesterday, and I'm just watching Orange is the New Black and stuff that's really violent. I'm like, geez. But I was just sleeping most of yesterday. Okay. And I was eating. I've been eating oatmeal every single day, and pasta. And so what Alana did is she talked about the World War II camp victims and the cancer victims. And of course, they're getting all a bunch of fluoride and a bunch of aggressive elements and hardly any food. Okay, so that's why cancer happens, is because you're starving. And she's saying that she is just craving pasta and cream. Well, of course, because you need the pasta, you need the gluten. You need the cream. The milk is life. Okay? She is completely exactly correct craving that. That's what I was craving when I was PMSing for the last 20 fucking years. Okay? Because I was not only starving as an orphan, starving throughout my whole life when you think about it, because everyone wants to be skinny and looking cute and all this other shit. And so then my body kept making me stay at home. And I stayed my ass at home, missed events, even missed work sometimes, having to call in sick, whatever. And I would have to eat and sleep. And it was a fucking nightmare, especially in a world where no one is doing what I'm doing. And if they are, they have some kind of diagnosable condition, then they can go take medication for or be on drugs or something. And I wasn't doing that. I couldn't do that. And so seeing that and then telling her she needs to stay off the J juice, of course. She needs to eat the pasta and the cream. She needs to stay home and then release the demons, the method I have in my book, and stay home and stay safe. Okay? And I like this girl. I think she's a beautiful girl. She's a nice lady. I mean, I don't know her personally, but I think all humans have something to offer. All humans are gorgeous and beautiful. And even though I may not agree with what their lifestyle is and their belief system and what they practice all the time, it doesn't even matter. Because remember, we've been taught by so many different people, and we've been taught by people who had to figure out how to eradicate, the people who are intolerant and the undesirables over time, because over time, people do become extremely intolerant and brutal and vicious and violent and all of that. And how do you control that? How do you control that? You can't just go and be like, okay, well, you're not gonna live anymore. See you later. Bye. You can't just genocide people. So there's got to be a different way to do things, and we're in that different way. And so your friends, people who post that picture, someone posted, I'm not even saying her name. I really wanted to go and just lash out on that person's Facebook page, but I wasn't going to do it because I knew if I did that, I'd be no different than anybody else. So I just took that, erased her name, and said wrong. It said, something about, what did they say? Let me go back to what it said. So that way you know where I'm coming from. Okay? It said, consumption of wheat and grains have been associated with, and then all the different diseases, right? Well, disease comes from malnutrition, from so many little offspring in your body, and all the different offspring in your body, and then your body's not releasing because you are taking remedies to stop your body from releasing. And they metastasize and turn into a diagnosable condition, of which then when you're eating herbs and when you're eating grains and you're eating food, the body is then now being armed and it wants to push out all the demons. And then the body's like, you're like, no, I can't feel that again. And then you take another herb and extract, whatever. And then you stay away from that food, that nutrition that your body needs to arm the immune system to push out shit. And so your friends who post that making you afraid of food and water and air, they are starving you. Your friends out there are the Gestapo, so militant against food. Like literally so fucking militant against food. That is World War III. WW3. World War III are your friends and family starving your ass, putting fear of food into you, making you think food is poison, and then giving you all the fluoride or remedies and herbal extracts just like they did back in 1945. That's exactly what's going on right now, but through your friends, your family, your mom and your dad, your sister and your brother, and all your fucking gurus all over Facebook. Sodium fluoride is safe in the water supply as well as your teeth products because everything is FDA approved. But what are holistic people doing purposely? Taking all of their aggressive herbal elements, taking all of their aggressive elements and detoxes, doing exactly the same thing they did in World War II, and they are starving. Just look at them. Look how skinny or completely obese they are. They're fucking starving. You are dying at the hands of your friends, your family, your mother, and your father. That is World War III. And I said this so many times, different ways, but Alana, she gave you the gift of insight. She gave me the gift of insight and clarity. Because I'm looking at, she's like saying, well, all the cancer is going on in there. I'm like, yeah, well, there's so much cancer and you're using fluoride, of course, that isn't regulated. Of course, wouldn't be back in 1945. And then they're starving of food. And I'm looking at the holistic world and they're starving of food and they're on their herbal remedies. They're on their detoxes, their ivermectins, their extracts. They're saying that food is poison. They're all into the organic bullshit, completely demonizing genetically modified. Oh my God, this is 1945, but redressed in a different way. Now it's your choice. No one's going to the cattle car left, to the cattle car right. Oh no, you're telling your friends and family that food is poison. You're telling your friends and family, don't eat this food. Don't eat that food. Stay away from all food. Only eat my food. It's all organic and all that shit. Your mother is taking food away from you. Your father is taking food away from you. Your sister, your brother is bullying you into taking food away from you. And they're posting shit on Facebook, putting fear of food into you. No, this is World War fucking III. When people are starving, you can't penetrate their belief system. They're fucking starving. And they've been brutalized by their mother and their father through starvation and remedies and aggressive, impenetrable belief systems and politics. Good luck. You will need it. These kids don't stand a chance. Oh, no, they don't. Oh, no, they don't. Because what were they born from? All the fertility from the drugs and the remedies and the surgeries. Now, the upside is more food for me. Because you're starving. You're all starving yourself. The upside is you're not going to stop making this food. They're not going to stop making this food. So while you're starving you and yourself and your kids, I'm eating like a fucking queen. Thank you for your service. Okay, so while you're all like, oh, I'm staying away from oatmeal, I'm staying away from bread and grains and meat and milk and cheese and eggs and fruits and vegetables, right? So while you're all starving and staying away from that, I'm buying it up and I'm eating it while you guys are like, oh, I'm only going to eat just air sandwiches and vegan bullshit. And so that's how the giants were eradicated. It was not only just an aggressive weapon, right? Like a nuclear reactor that basically turned them all into stone. But it was the starvation. Because even the humans back then had to strategize their survival against the giants who were cannibalizing them. Who were enslaving them, who were intolerant to them. The giants enslaved the humans. And so the humans had to get rid of the giants. And then over time, they were bioengineered out of the gene pool. Yes, you get your tall people. I mean, I've known people who are really tall. Well, obviously basketball players, all the different Hollywood stars that play parts. But they were a representation of the giants that were even far more taller than they are. Okay? And so, yeah. And so, I can only imagine a giant who doesn't know any better listening to some strategic humans and, hey, here, drink this concoction. Stay away from this food. Here, drink my herbal remedy and my little detox and my little drink to help you with whatever you're feeling. So the giant goes and takes it and becomes even more starving, skinnier, and decrepit and suffering. And then eventually, the giant becomes so weak, it's easy to take them down. Maybe you gave them a concoction that poisoned them, made them see they become hallucinogenic. I can only imagine what the humans did to the giants way back when to get rid of them, because they were a force that each human had to go and protect themselves from. So what's going on today with your friends and family doing to what they're doing to each other and their kids is no different than what the humans had to do to the giants way back when. Because the giants were formidable. They were intolerant, formidable, and very aggressive. And so then I said, starvation and aggressive elements like herbs and extracts and heavy doses of elements is what destroyed Holocaust victims. Those victims do not have access to pasta, cream, or meat. Do you realize the holistic and cancer allopathic world are mirroring WW2, but at your own hand? Starvation was the number one reason why people in those camps died. Now look at your parents. You and your kids. Skinny, starving, or so obese the body cannot process correctly. At your own hand. Or people work themselves to death. And they do not take the time to recover. And of course, the alcohol and drugs do not help, but it is the starvation is what killed WW2 camp victims. Starvation is what will destroy those in the holistic allopathic world. And look at the cancer victims out there, starving, being told food was poison, being told take away food, don't release the demons. Starvation. Hello? When most of your world is about remedying your disease, and you're taking the prescription drugs and over-the-counter drugs and the remedies and the herbal extracts and your fear of food, you voluntarily act like a WW2 victim of starvation by your own hand. Starvation is when you have so many elements and minerals in your body and not enough nutrition. And then those minerals and elements cause then offspring to happen. It causes then how does that happen? Because your body has to build defense against it. Okay? They have to build antibodies against it, and that's what causes the birth. Okay? And that's what cannibalizes people. It's all the antibodies. The antigen antibody programming is what cannibalizes that parent. All those little babies, those children. And so that was World War II, and you are reenacting it. That's the aggressive aging process. That's the starvation. I see people my age, from my old high school class, maybe one grade up higher than me. They look like they are older. They look like old men. There are men that are even younger than me that look like old men. Why is that? Because the amount of diversity in the population, of course, all the remedies and the extracts and the whatever, and then the accelerated environment causing then a bloom of that much offspring that will then eat up so much of that person's life force, they become aged like almost overnight. Like when I'm coughing and hacking and sneezing yesterday and blowing my nose overnight, last night, just blowing, and even all day yesterday, imagine if that was still stayed in my body, if that would age me so progressively, so aggressively, that I could be hit the wall overnight if I kept all of those mucus little things inside of me. But my nose on this side, which was felt kind of weird the last couple weeks, that's where most of the exit was coming out of, right here. So I was probably still, I won't say sick, but still recovering from whatever frequency shift that happened the last month or so. But then going out and compounding that situation with more diverse microbes then caused even more so for me to then have to recover yesterday. So I couldn't tell you if it was Friday that caused that, but it probably compounded it because I already was dealing with some stuff the last few weeks. But no matter what, if you're going to go into a diverse environment, you have to have the body to do it, and you have to release, and you have to eat. Okay? And everything is connected, but you got to give your body time to recover. People don't. They just go from one event to another event to another event. Okay, and so that was World War II, and you are reenacting it. That's the aggressive aging process, starvation. Every time I was PMSing the last 20 years, I was eating pounds and pounds of pasta to make up for what I was doing during that month. Because I would work so hard, hardly eat anything, only live on coffee for 2 weeks. And then the 2 weeks after that, I'd be down at home sick, eating pounds and pounds of pasta and whatever else I get my hands on, and sleeping and being bloated and shitting and being all constipated as well. But I would be getting most of my work done and most of my whatever it was done for 2 fucking weeks. And then the next 2 weeks, it was downhill as the body then trying to go and recover and feed itself and tell me, go eat all this food. And I did. And so when I was PMSing the last 20 years, I was eating pounds and pounds of pasta to make up for what I was doing during that month. My PMS saved my ass, but it made me a pariah against everyone in my work and world because I had to sit at home and eat food. I was fucking starving. I had to be sick, but everyone made fun of me. Screw you. I was saving myself. Oh, Jillian is lazy. Jillian is this. Jillian is... No, I wasn't on drugs. I didn't have the luxury to be born into a world with a lot more substance to me so I can live off of that for the next 20 years. And I wasn't going to be on drugs or surgeries. But all of y'all that could afford to just, take your drugs and your surgeries, whatever, made fun of me as I was sitting home trying to keep myself a fucking alive and still try to fit in with the rest of the world. So watching people starve today fucking makes me sick. Makes me so sick to watch all of you starve yourself to death because you were never conditioned to deal with pain and you felt you had to work yourself to death to keep up with everybody else. I finally got turned on to the milk the last 3 years. Milk, cream, and pasta is what saved my ass. I'm telling you, I was drinking whipped cream and making it in my coffee and just eating it after I whipped it up with the sugar, I would eat it out of the cup. This last summer, I had so many ice cream bars. I had someone say, oh, why would you do that? Because I'm fucking starving and my body needs it. Hello, but no, that person who asked that, they're taking their remedies. They're aging out. They're becoming some Gaia alchemical, spiritual healer that will be prescribing you all their fucking herbal remedies and yoga positions and all that shit. That's who was asking me those questions. Someone who is just disintegrating for our very eyes. And so while third world countries are starving, first world countries are so privileged they voluntarily starve themselves. Can you imagine being that privileged that you're choosing to freaking starve yourself? It must be nice to be that fucking privileged to starve yourself and destroy yourself voluntarily and then blame somebody else for it. Oh God, it's that person's fault. It's the V's fault. It's the GMO's fault. It's this person's fault. Okay. And of course, when your kids don't survive your belief system, then you blame somebody else yet again. How else do you think the fucking giants died? They were starved out. The energy in the environment caused them to be so aggressive, and then a nuclear weapon also destroyed them. Look what you're doing to yourself, acting just like your parents, the giants. This remedy to read the giants. And so, yes, my mother named me Jillian. What is my... Layla is my Jewish name. Lilith is the other name. She wanted to call me Jillith, but she didn't. She called me Jillian. But she definitely named me after Lilith. Okay? Jewish mysticism, Hermeticism, Christian Gnosticism understands these types of demons called Lilith. What is that video? It's called Queen of the Demons, The Origins of Lilith. Hello, John. The Origins of Lilith. Now, I'm not going to go and paraphrase the whole thing. You can watch that. But she was also part of the demons of Adam, of which Eve was also the other demon. Okay, so Jewish mysticism, Hermeticism, Christian Gnosticism understands these types of demons. And they can be programmed into people. People can play with the occult and they conjure up these demons, of which they do possess people. Spell casting, spell binding, herbs, food, incantations. Of course, the less food you eat, the less your body can release those demons. And even the more food you eat, and the more you're exposed to occult practices with a crappy release process, the stronger the demons can be. And of course, the more drugs or remedies you do, the far more aggressive those demons can also be. Which is why some children in this climate are not surviving their childhood. Because it's all the remedies and the herbs and the lack of tolerance to pain and release, which is why children are maturing faster in the West, unstable environments, and so many herbs and remedies and surgeries and extracts. And so yesterday, I was releasing so many demons, and it was painful. Sweating, headaches, fatigue. I slept all day yesterday. I did go out on Friday, but did not do any drinking. I was just around a lot of people, a lot of diverse people. Not a big deal. However, you do take in spirits, and they do fornicate, and they do metastasize, and they have offspring. And then you get bigger, and some people have to eat a whole lot more, and they even get skinnier because they're now compounding the issues they already have. Which is why when you are skinny and already behind the 8 ball, you literally have to change your life. Because the more you go out there, the more you're taking on the multiplication, the replication of the offspring from all the diversity around you. So when I used to go to work, which is fine, I go to work, I get in my car with my coffee. Maybe I'll go to Starbucks. So I'll be around people that are diverse in Starbucks. Okay, fine. Then I go into work, and it's the same kind of people. So my body already got used to that. But it's on the weekends, when I go to the clubs, or I go to other parties, or I go travel to a different town, because that's what we do during those times, is we go and see stuff and hang out with people and do whatever. Maybe not so much drink. I didn't drink a lot. I mean, I drank some, but then on Mondays, when I'm around my PMS, it'd be so hard to go into work, because then on Mondays, when my body would finally want to release those demons on a Monday. And when my body wants to release demons, I become sick. And that's why Monday was always that key time where I would try to go to work on a Monday and I couldn't. People were like, oh, you're just recovering from partying all weekend. You can't handle your lifestyle. Maybe you should go out and go do that. No, it was just that I was already experiencing the release process. And I was using, Theraflu, which compound the issue. All the Theraflus, all the herbal remedies, all the supplements, all the different remedies compounded the issue. And so, but I still had to feel the pain. I still had to, and then probably why each progressive year, the PMS got worse and worse, because of all the little babies that the body was trying to push out from all the different remedies, trying to deal with my body pushing stuff out, and I'm trying to stop it. And it was always a conflict, a war. Okay? So, which is why when you are skinny and already behind the 8 ball, you literally have to change your life, or else it'll be a fighting an uphill battle and you won't win. I just get bigger and bigger and developed another environment to release the demons, and then my body goes down to size again later. So I feel okay. I look okay. I don't know if you look at the video the other day, you can see maybe a difference. I mean, I don't know. I feel like okay. And then my body goes down to size again later. When the demons are gone and my immune system calms down, my nose is clear, the pain is gone, not too much sweating, and I have a normal appetite. And so on top of the diverse spirits in the world, such as friends and family and get-togethers, it also is the climate changing with the heat and the temperatures becoming so unstabilized. It causes rapid growth. And then that release process can be painful. But when people do not want to feel the pain, they trap the demons within. That's why the turbo cancers are so accelerated. It's your remedies, people. Those remedies slow down your body's release process, which allows those demons to become even more numerous, age you faster, turning into turbo cancers. Which is why they recommend people wearing masks. I understand now, especially if you are going into new areas, but your body must be able to handle new entities. And it must be able to release those excessive energies. And so blowing your nose and blowing your nose and blowing your nose, releasing those demons, along with understanding your whole immune system, right, is what's going to fucking help you. Let me tell you, I kept blowing my nose, and I kept blowing from this way and that way, and I'd turn over, and I would sleep, and I would just listen to my YouTube videos, or listen to the TV, or listen to whatever, just keep my mind off and just keep bringing in information as I'm sleeping and dealing with the pain of release, okay? And so my belly was so big this weekend. I wasn't pregnant, but when you are developing a defense system against different environments you're in, and then when your body has developed so much offspring from the different environments and then destabilization of the atmosphere, you do get bigger, you get bloated and hungry. Those are a lot of the little offspring you must feed, and then you have to release. You have to feed those offspring. And so I'm eating not only spaghetti and cheese and tomato sauce and tomatoes, but I'm also eating so much oatmeal. Like, I've been eating so much oatmeal the last few weeks, I mean, before it was, I was eating oranges a couple of years ago. And then I was drinking, so much milk and cream and ice cream. And there was Jello. Okay, we knew what the Jello did with me for a while. And then it was and then now it's the oatmeal and it's the spaghetti, which is like reminiscent of when I was PMSing because I was fucking starving. But why am I starving now? I've been eating food because this environment has become more aggressive. It's causing so much replication and activity, and it activates the little babies in your body that were kind of like, just a little bit chilled out. But then the environment becomes so aggressive, it activates them, they become hungry, and you have to feed them. Or else they're going to feed on you and age you out and make you be skinny or cause so much of hormonal imbalance. You're eating so much and you're not releasing. And now you have all these little pockets of like colony forming units of things that are working against you and tear down your infrastructure. They become parasitic. Not that you want to destroy your body through anti-parasitics, but when you have so much to you, like obesity, that's when you develop so many parasitic entities that you don't want to attack. That's why the whole J world is a progressive, systematic release process. You eat food, you pull out the crap, and you release the demons, you feel the pain. And yesterday I tried to pull out any crap, but there wasn't really much in there, really. There really wasn't. It was this morning that, yes, it came out. But yesterday it was very little, if anything at all. And so it's really just having to sit with the pain and eat the food and let the immune system work through the process. That's what it was yesterday. Okay? And so, yeah, you do get bigger. You get bloated and hungry. Those are a lot of little offspring you must feed, and then you have to release. And that's why people get temperatures and infections. And I had a few hives, but not a big deal. And then my immune system took care of them. It's called being sick and not trying to take away your sickness. I had to deal with the headaches and the sweating and constantly needing to blow my nose. Even my lymph nodes, like this morning, they were tender. Both sides were tender. And I was sweating yesterday. I was smelling my lymph nodes because I like to smell and see what it smells like. It wasn't horrible, but it was like, it definitely had an odor to it. Okay, I took a shower early this morning, took a shower and I felt better. And so I wasn't even pooping that much yesterday, right? But I needed to blow my nose. I didn't even drink any coffee yesterday. So on top of it, my body was already getting used to not having coffee too. So even going through that process, then not having coffee. I'm having coffee today. So remember, the aging process is from all those little offspring cannibalizing the parent. You are the parent to those offspring. No different than your children taking up your resources over so many years. And then the parents pass away. And of course, it's accepted in all the different cultures, except for mine. But wow, I feel fine today. I feel better I felt better after 8 o'clock last night. That's when I was posting some stuff, right? And so you see, all the sickness comes from the same thing. Okay? It's the different stories you tell about it. It's what makes all the religions and justifications, and of course, all the politics and fear. All sickness is from the macro conception and micro conception, from all the diversity in your environment. That's why the average humans today never lived past 100. Their ancestors, the giants, did. But the humans were programmed in a very different way until today. You can reprogram yourself and live like your ancestors, but it's painful. And it's painful to break into the next world. You must earn your way in, and it's not easy. You have to pay a hefty payment to get in, okay? Or just enjoy your life today until it's done. The choice is yours. All right, so people are like, well, why did Noah live to be 900 years old? Because he was a fucking giant. And he had so many humans. And see, what did the giants live off of, right? This is where people don't really hear too much about the giants because it's not mainstream. It's all in the fairy tales. But they were eating people. They were cannibalizing people. What else did the giants, they probably were eating, cows too. But when the cows weren't readily available, when humans are procreating so much, like you see right now, humans are procreating so much. Can you imagine somebody out there going like, well, we're going to breed you to be food for the giant. Can you imagine what that was like 10,000 years ago? When people were bred to be food for the giant. Because what else are the giants going to eat? Again, how much livestock can they develop? How much livestock? You'd have to have a lot of livestock. But in reality, humans can procreate so fast. And they can have 19 children. You can figure out how many livestock a cow can make every year before it's being butchered for even the food for the humans. But food for the giants, you have to figure out the giants have to eat the humans. The humans have to eat the cows. The cows have to eat the grass. I mean, you see how that progression. So you know the humans were food for the giants. And so they had to be starved out. All right? And that's why they were lived to be 900 years old, because there were so many humans. And they bred so many humans. Human farming. Exactly. But again, you don't hear too much about the giants because that's an eradicated history. That's Tartaria. Mud floods. It's been covered up for so many years. But remember, these giants were brutal to humans. That's why they don't exist anymore. That's why you don't see the big tree of life, right? The monument over there. And well, as long as it's the monument, what do you call it? The Devil's Tower. So yeah, I'm beginning a timeline. All right, I already read that. Which is good. And there's about, so study Sumer and Gilgamesh 4,000 years ago. So if human civilization started like 10,000 years ago, then 4,000 years ago was around Gilgamesh time and all the giants and everything else, the Nephilim, whatever. All right. So Sumerian texts revealed 8 intelligent beings that came to Earth and ruled for 241,200 years. You can call them gods, but where they come from, we don't know. I mean, you can speculate, but why would you? What we're going to see, if we're going to see anything, is just holograms of what our ancestors used to be, because we figured out how to keep those ancestors away over there in whatever planet they came from. And we have the Ark of the Covenant. We have, direct energy technology. I mean, obviously we eradicate the giants, so they know that we're smart enough to keep them at bay, and we have our own little civilization called humanity, right? And so why do you think I believe all the stories out there? Why do you think every single story out there has relevance? It doesn't mean I will be worshiping anyone or even demonizing anyone. Every human has a story. I have my own stories of people who were taller than me, right? And so California to New York, we all have stories around everything we have done. We all have encountered crazy things in our lives. We've had hormonal imbalances that gave us our perspectives, and then our hormones went back into balance again once the message was sent. So some people become born-again Christians because they had some epiphany from some hormonal imbalance that talked to them during their sleep, because they went through some kind of energy conversion, and now they believe in Jesus Christ, or now they want to go worship Jesus Christ, or worship Yahweh, or worship somebody because they had an epiphany from some kind of energy conversion. And it could have been, the system heating up the atmosphere as they were getting all humans online through the grid. And people are like, oh, I've had the second coming of Christ talk to me and tell me stuff. Okay. So the stories of antiquity and even the Middle Ages have so much relevance. All oral traditions are based in somebody's experiences. And we know science and bioengineering is a thing. We know physics and chemistry and social constructs develop the culture of every society we live in. We also know people are ruled by their politics, their religion, and we know cells get radicalized and become quite extreme, and no other thought process is allowed to get in or penetrate. And now, hence, look at the Middle East. The Middle East. You can't make people like you if they've hated you for thousands of years and they've passed down the tradition of hate through thousands of years. You can't make people like you. Believe me, I try to explain my information to people out there, the trolls, and they say, oh, you're stupid. You don't have a degree. You're this. You try to kill somebody, Jillian. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? They will never, some of these trolls will never, ever even want to intend to understand where I'm coming from. They will always look to me as some kind of fucking pariah. No different than some cultures out there who hate the Jews, or hate the blacks, or hate the Mexicans or Hispanics, or hate women, or hate men. You'll never be able to make them like you, ever. Ever. And we know cells or cultures get radicalized and become quite extreme, and no other thought process is allowed to get in or penetrate. Maybe that's why the giants don't exist anymore, because they were literally too big for their britches and they were eating humans. And so they're eating children, right? And they had to be eradicated, or else all out human extinction. And so evolution means reading something different. Evolution means understanding what it's like to be in somebody else's shoes. Evolution means questioning your own belief system. Evolution is not about forcing someone to be violent to you because they were violent to them, because you were violent to them. Okay? Walking away is one thing, but when you shoot somebody in the back, it's not always lucrative to walk away. So sometimes you have to declare war on someone who will destroy you if given the chance. But the reason why they didn't destroy you is because you're armed to the teeth. Now look at the Middle East. Look what they're dealing with in the Middle East. Both sides. They can't get along. One tried to get... Nope. When someone is that advanced and they figure out how to protect themselves, The other side, who is not very advanced, is proving they're not very advanced or trying to get advanced to destroy. Well, mutually assured destruction, eventually that will end. That war will end. So why is it that Americans have guns? It was never really about the government, okay? As they have tanks, the government has tanks and Star Wars and energy technology. Americans have guns because there are people who want to destroy other people or kidnap them, rape and torture others, no different than the rogue giants. There are people who want to take other people's things. When you have to be armed to the teeth because you're afraid of your neighbor and afraid of children out there, is that the society you want to truly live in? When you're afraid of predators, is that the society you really want to live in? What's going on right now completely proves the giants did exist, and they were eradicated for a reason. And that whole world was eradicated. Now you as a human, what are you enslaving and brutalizing in your world? What are you a predator against? Now you see why there's always so much war. We're going through another major human evolution right now. And it's very painful. Just like it was painful for the giants when they finally had to be eradicated. Every single human is being given a choice to evolve. And if you choose not to evolve, despite all the evidence that it's lucrative to evolve, then it's your own damn fault. And then you are to blame for why your family cannot evolve because you never became the representation of your family. You never became the representation your family so desperately needed. Children are only children for a very short amount of time. What values are you teaching your children? Because they do end up growing up to be adults that some people have to protect themselves from. Do we have to protect ourselves from you? And if that's the case, we might have to protect ourselves from your children. All right? And then how do you believe something with absolutely no evidence? Because evidence isn't always physical proof. Evidence is in the world and the laws of physics, chemistry, biology, geology, and geography. Stories exist from actual events, and no matter how much the embellishment, the reality was probably far more attractive than even the embellishment. When you're telling a story and you were never there, the reality is far more detailed and extreme than the story will ever be. Remember the saying, I guess you had to be there. Remember the Bible and maybe the Epic of Gilgamesh, and you're seeing it just through the perspective of somebody translating that. But every story out there was told, but I'm telling you, you had to be there. But what you read, hold on. What was it? Google. Oh, I'm on Facebook Live. All right. But every story that you read probably was far more aggressive and more extreme than what was actually written, okay? And so you had to be there. You want to know how extreme the Bible was and the fairy tales and the Greek giants were? I guess you had to be there. And simultaneously, you were living the stories of mythology. Just look even at you and your family and your friends and traditions. You are no different than those of 10,000 years ago. But now you have designer jeans, Jeans or Genes, and microwave ovens and firepower. Now you're the creatures of mythology with access to firepower and also uniformly programmed. And some people are so bitter and nasty and mean they can't be any different than the witches, warlocks, and wizards of the tales. You are living the mythological stories right now. Okay? And that's why I did that compilation, that Facebook reel of showing you all the different stories that the Grimm's fairy tale guys from the medieval times developed. They did a lot of research. They went to different places, like in northeastern Europe or northern Europe and Spain and different places, and they collected all the folk tales, all the stories of the giants from way back when, from 4,000 years ago, 10,000 years ago, potentially even 2,000 years ago, as we kept going through another turning. And so the Bible, Grimm's fairy tales, Greek giants, that should be enough evidence to prove the lost world of giants, avatars, remember that movie, The Avatar, and the Ark of the Covenant via DEW or direct energy technology. If you still deny, laugh, and jeer, denial is not just a river in Egypt. And people do. They're like, oh yeah, whatever, Dylan, you're stupid. Whatever, fine. And so then there was this thing called Greek giants. The ancient Greek told stories of giants describing them as flesh-eating. Yeah, they're eating fucking people. Gods, giants, and mankind. Before there were any humans on Paline, the story goes that a battle was fought between the gods and the giants. Traces of the giants' demises continue to be seen to this day. Whenever torrent swells with rain and excessive water breaks their banks and floods the fields, they say that even now in gullies and ravines, the people discover bones of immeasurable enormity like men's carcasses, but far bigger. And this is the Greek historian Solinus, AD 200. Okay? I know the giants were of the past. I know now. I didn't know before because I had to go and study everything. And I wasn't becoming compartmentalized. I wasn't going to be a denier or be one of those that laughed at people. Though you saw them when Joan's like, oh, Joan's talking about the giants again. Oh my God. And they're all laughing at me. Okay. Hey, that's great. Fine. Laugh at me. I don't really give a fuck. And so that's why I posted about the Brothers Grimm. They're a biography. Read them. Read who they are. See, people don't fucking read enough, right? They make assumptions. It would be good to find out who the Brothers Grimm are because they gave you another side of the world you're not aware of to be true in your current reality. Fairy tales. Tales are the Bibles for children. The giants are their ancestors told in a different way. Why do you think children's stories are so simple? It's not just that they were writing for children because it was a simple time out there in the country. It's hard for giants to hide in the city, but they do try. Remember the book, The Big Friendly Giant? And he was hiding in the city, right? But it was the country they had to defend themselves against, the rogue giants. No different than our streets today. We have to protect ourselves from the rogue humans. And so, yeah, these giants not only ate children. Remember Santa Claus? They said that was a story that was what was it? Sterilized to be now friendlier. Like, oh, he gave you gifts. No, he was stealing children. And probably buying them. That's what happens now. Kids are being bought with gifts. When you think about it, that's what Christmas is, and Halloween. Christmas is about buying children to be good and to do their homework and to eat food and be fattened up for the kill later on. And so it's like Halloween. Oh yeah, knock on doors to strangers and eat candy, and you never know where the candy came from or what's going on with that candy. People say like, oh yeah, it's about accepting crazy looking ones, and everyone comes together, right? There's that side of it. And also, oh yeah, leave yourself open for all the parasites and the crazy entities that come in and cannibalize you and destroy you. Yeah, okay. I would rather not open my door to strangers nowadays. I don't. All right. So but basically, yeah, the giants were eating the children and they were eating humans. And so anyways. And then the Dante's Inferno, 9 Layers of Hell. Now, I was listening to that in the beginning and then I fell asleep and I only heard the ending. I didn't listen to the whole thing. I mean, I read part of the book, but there's so many footnotes. Jesus. And so the last thing that I heard when that video ended, when I woke up, the dangers of pursuing knowledge without the proper guidance. So since I didn't listen to the whole thing, I made my own interpretation of that, which you should do because you got to be able to develop your own thought process without just believing somebody, another thought process without question. You don't want to blindly believe anyone. You want to develop your own thought around something. So I said, when you're guided by the demons in your body, I'm sure it's very difficult to take on new information. If anything, there would be a war in your body, a war in your mind, a war in your spirit. Cognitive dissonance is not just not believing conspiracy theories. Cognitive dissonance is refusing to take in knowledge that conflicts with your beliefs. Which is why many humans will not survive the next world because they can't take in new information. And they reject it and they destroy. Just look at your Facebook at the hatred and the hate and even the denial. That ought to tell you everything of why people will not evolve if they can't release those demons. And those demons are a bitch to get out of your body, and they are painful to get out. But the power and the knowledge is in the pain and the food supply. Okay, then I did that Facebook reel, which I actually went onto Facebook and looked at the music, the reels, and looked at the music that was available, and I put in fairy tale as the search. And that's what I found, this I think he's from the UK or something, but like a folk singer singing about what it's like to be, I don't know, some throwaway entity that happened to be a male. And I don't know, man, it's good music. It fits with that whole theme of the giants and being misunderstood. I'm not going to get political right now. You saw what I posted about Hamas and Israel. You can figure out that. Okay, so I'm not going to go into that. Oh, Lordy. And so humans can learn a lot in over 1,000 years. In 2018, medieval scholar Michael McCormick nominated 536 as the worst year to be alive because of extreme weather events, caused by a volcanic eruption early in the year, causing average temperatures in Europe and China to decline, resulting in crop failures and famine well over a year. Okay, so imagine right now what's going on, and that's being controlled. The year 536 BC was a year of the pre-Julian Roman calendar. In the Roman Empire, it was known as 218 AB Urbi Condita. The denomination of 536 BC for this year has been used since the early medieval period, when the Anno Domini calendar era became the prevalent method in Europe for naming years. Okay? And so 0536 was 1,486 years, 9 months and 15 days ago, which is 543,039 days. And it was on a Monday in a week of 536. How many months ago was 05? Okay. So anyways, you saw that, you can learn so much in over 1,000 years, you guys. Like, seriously. And so I said 2 choices. You can outsmart your parents, the giants, and survive them and stay alive forever on Earth, or die with your current parent, children, brothers, sisters, animals, and pets while you're taking your antibiotics and surgeries. And so you are in a major, major competition of survival in all the wars of friends, family, job, politics, religion, science, and spirituality. You either survive your ancestors or you die with them. Everyone around you are your ancestors. When someone says with this little baby, this little black baby, that they were saying, hey, this baby belongs to the ancestors, it means you're wanting that baby to die and pass away along with the ancestors. When I see that in the black culture, where someone says their baby belongs to the ancestors, that's a psychological genocide. That's a psychological programming to destroy your own kind by giving your baby to the ancestors, because your ancestors are dead. That's not where you want your baby to end up. There's a lot of shit going on out there as far as psychological programming. And so I said, I found the missing link hidden in plain sight. How do you survive your parents, the giants, who died before you? You must survive your brothers and sisters, all of mankind who are out to destroy you. Right? Your friends, your family. That is what people call one another brother and sister, acknowledging relationship, competition, and survival of the fittest. Period. That's why I don't want to be anyone's brother or sister. Because it means that we're competing for food and affection. Not going there. I'm not competing with you. You compete on your own. I'm staying here. You stand over there. I figure it out through my own system. But I'm not anyone's brother or sister. Yes, I've had like formal brothers and sisters from law. But when you think about it, you have your own battles to battle. I have my own battles to battle. And that's about it. But I'm not taking part in any of their religion. And so when it's all said and done, we are the clones of the past until we get it right. Maybe it's time to get it right, humans, or make the same mistakes as your parents' giants who are extinct. And then I said, worshiping someone 1 degree away from Moses or 10 degrees away from Moses is still worshiping someone. So worshiping Moses or someone like Joshua or someone like Jesus is still worshiping somebody. Okay? I understand why your parents are not around and you stay alive and survive your parents forever on this earth. The age of giants are your parents, were and are your parents, and they are the missing links. And so where do the giants come from? We might find out someday. Some of you might live long enough to find out. Some of your kids might get the privilege to find out or not. And that's all I said. Okay? And so now you're seeing World War III has been perpetrated by your friends and your family, scaring you away from food, scaring you away from pain, scaring you away from life. Your friends and family are the Gestapo until you learn how to walk away from their tactics. And even if you have to live with them, doesn't mean you have to do what they're doing. Because even when I'm living with my husband, I take in whatever microbes that he has and I can deal with that. That's a battle I can survive. When I get around so many people that are like him in one room, then that's a war. That is a war that I have to fight in my body. That's the war people don't realize, is that when they're around their friends and family, always going to football games, always going to things, events and things like that, and doing all the traditions, you are now fighting a war in your body that you have enacted and then also disabled your immune system from releasing the demons. And that's why people don't survive their friends or family, their traditions in politics, religion, and science. And so you have to understand what the world is now, what the wars are now. The wars are microbial from conception. The wars are microconception and macroconception. And will you survive the offspring? That's what it comes down to. All right, bye.